Hey, great morning, Dr. Harris here, Generational Wealth Academy. Listen, let's talk about value this morning. Two things I was just thinking about over the weekend, discussing with Tara and also the kids. And Kate and I had a big discussion. You guys know that his bus is on the road and running and providing services. He's actually got a booked up calendar here for the rest of August and also has some dates set in September. So excited about that. I want to talk to you about value, though. I think many times, as Tara and I were talking, we had a conversation with a good friend of ours, Dr. Shiva Quinn, who runs a amazing program. She teaches people and teachers in particular how to homeschool. But one point she brought up, which was so valuable, she talked about how many times people feel that education should be free. Anything that's taught in school systems should be free. But on the converse, people are willing to still pay $250,000 in student loans. So that was kind of ironic there that people think that way. But I think, again, like I said, most people think that education is supposed to be free. Now, public school education, it is free. But charter school, that's free to a degree, but it's still funded, as well as private school. Now, private school, of course, you're going to pay for that, and you get a different level of education. So the same thing, what Caden provides in financial literacy is not what's taught in regular school. So when you just assess that thought for a moment and realize that, okay, this is different. It's not taught in free school, public school. So therefore, there's a great value and a value add which should be compensated monetarily. So when it comes to that, it's important that we set the precedence right up front. Just let people know that the service that Caden is providing is extremely valuable, particularly in our youth, as far as things that they're able to learn economically, business wise. So that is an investment. I hope I hope people are seeing their kids and their grandkids as investments. And you'll put money into a car, you put money into purses, clothes, shoes, things like that. But what do you put into your children? What are you putting into your grandchildren? So, like Cadence packages begin at 650 for the bus to come out. Now, here's one thing I think people got to realize. I think so many times people ask, "Well, can you bring the bus to my church? Can you bring the bus to this event or that event?" We're more than happy to do that, but understand this is a business. It's a for-profit business, and I think many times people get into the mindset of nonprofit. And even with the nonprofit, it's important that you understand that a nonprofit still has to be funded. When a nonprofit takes on an event, it's still funded. Money still has to come from somewhere. Guys, this is not a little Toyota. This is a bus that operates on diesel. Okay, so every time that bus starts up, it sucks a gallon of fuel. We have to pay for drivers. We have to pay for maintenance and upkeep of the vehicle. But more importantly, the content that's provided that the kids are learning. There's courses on the bus. It's not just you get on the bus and take a look around, but you actually sit down and you take a course. You're taking quizzes and tests, and you're learning the fundamentals of banking, of shopping, spending money intelligently, budgeting. You learn about stock investing. These are things that are not taught in free school. Okay, so that's why it's important to understand that Caden Teaches Bus is a for-profit business, but more importantly, it's here to provide a value add through economic and financial enhancement of our children. So, one thing I wanted to make mention too is that, again, understanding value. Let's say the beginning package is $650. If 10, 20, 50 kids are exposed for the $650, that's pennies as far as the longevity and the reach mentally that these kids will have, the exposure that they will have. Just the kids who've been on the bus so far since he's been in operation for this past week, so many kids have been saying, "Hey, listen, maybe I can write a book. Maybe I can start a business. Hey, I like to do this. I like to do that." Their creative juices are flowing. And again, this is exposure that many parents may or may not be giving their kids. It's definitely not taught in the school system, so important to understand that value that Caden is bringing and sparking new exposure, new ideas in these kids' mind. That's the intrinsic value. That's what makes this priceless. So the law of averages is 1 out of 3. So if 30 kids are on the bus, 10 of these kids, by numbers, statistical numbers, are going to go off and do some great things with the information that they have learned and were exposed to on the bus. There's a young guy, Andrew. He was at the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office event that Caden did, and he was just blown away and just talked about, hey, listen, maybe I can do this. I want to write a book. He's thinking of ideas that he can now do to build a business. But again, this is not taught in public school. It's not even taught in private school, really. So it's important that people understand what Caden has put into this bus. This was his sweat equity. And it's important to understand that. Tara and I could have struck the check and just funded this whole thing, but that was not going to teach Caden anything. Caden purchased this bus out of the money of his own pocket. He paid $10,000 for the bus. How many 11-year-olds do you know? He was 10 when he bought the bus. But how many 11-year-olds you know can flip a bill for a $10,000 bus? How many adults can do it? Then to take on the challenge of raising $50,000 in a capital raise to outfit the bus to what you guys now see. So it's important that you understand that. I made a post not too long ago where I talked about, if I can put 20 or 30 years of my business wisdom and expertise and experience into a 30-minute conversation, you're not paying me for my minutes that we're talking for 30 minutes. You're paying for the years that I was able to compress into 30 minutes to speed up and accelerate your learning curve to be able to avoid mistakes that I've made and to pick up the gems and the jewels that made us successful and continue to grow us in our successes. So it's important to understand that you have to pay for valuable information. I've invested countless amounts of money, a lot of money, in coaching and mentoring and courses in developing myself. Look behind me. Let me turn this camera a little bit. Those are just a few books. Okay? Just a few books. I got books over here off camera that you can't see. I've read close to 1,200 books since I graduated high school. So all that information is in here. I always give the analogy, if you take an orange, if you squeeze an orange, what will you get? Orange juice. If you squeeze a lemon, what do you get? Lemon juice. Well, if someone squeezes you, whatever's in you is going to come out. I have countless amount of books in me. I have countless amount of books I've written. I have vast amounts of exposure and mentorship by some of the greatest minds in business in the world. Caden is mentored by some of the greatest. Caden has mentorship from David Stewart, billionaire David Stewart, billionaire Michael V. Roberts, multimillionaire Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, multimillionaire Dr. George C. Fraser. Countless people who he have direct mentorship. All these people I just named to you, they're in Caden's cell phone. He can call them at any time. He can text them at any time. This is the value that you're getting in Caden Teaches Bus. Okay? So it's important to understand that, because again, if a person booked Caden's Bus, like I said, the smallest package, $650. If you had 30 kids, think about those 10 kids that we talked about, the 1 out of 3, law of averages. If they went on and just did amazing things and made major impact in the world, but more importantly, because they were exposed to different options and opportunities, they may not have to go the route of having a $250,000 student loan hanging over their head until they're 30, 40, 50 years old. Okay? So again, that's the intrinsic value that's provided from Caden Teaches. So we got to get out of the mindset of thinking that education is just supposed to be given to us free. Because here's what we learn. When you pay attention. When things are given to people free, in one ear and out the other. But when you're paying for it, you have and hold a higher regard for the value of the content that you receive. So another thing too is, so many different buses or mobile businesses out here. You got mobile spas, you got mobile gaming buses, gaming trucks, things like that. But Caden has the only financial literacy bus in the country. And I'm going to go ahead and gander to say in the world. The first and only. Now, there's probably going to be people that's going to start creating financial literacy buses. He had the first. So he's on the cutting edge of being able to impact and reach kids in an indelible way that's going to be able to give them exposure to finances at an early age. People ask us all the time, well, Sean, when should I teach my kids? When should I teach my grandkids about finances? As soon as they can talk. As soon as they can talk. So many small children, they know the songs, every word, they know every local TikTok dance and everything. Well, if they can learn these songs, they can learn these dance moves at 2 and 3 years old, they can begin learning what an asset is. They can start learning what a dividend is. They can start learning the economic process of doing transactions. How many times do you let your children or your grandchildren give them the card when you get to the counter? Hand them your card. Let them go through the process of swiping, putting in the keypad. Have them understand what's happening. Understand how to get change back if you're still operating cash wise. These are invaluable tools they're going to learn. They got to learn them at some point. So why wait until later when they can learn it now? I took Kennedy. She's been doing some intern programs over the summer. One person at the chiropractor office even asked, "Why are you here? You're too young. Why are you interested in this?" Well, why wait until you're 16, 17, 18 years old to start getting exposed to a career path that you may be interested in when you can do it early? It's like the young lady, I think her name was Anila. Please forgive me if I'm saying her name wrong, but she's the young girl who is now in med school. I think she's 12 or 13 years old. A good buddy of mine, Mr. Benny Randall, is one of her mentors who's guiding her as a 13-year-old med student in college. Okay? So, but this only happened because she was exposed to this at an early age. So, again, her mother, her parents, her family, they understood value. They understood value at an early age. So, these are just some of the things I wanted to make mention to you as you're building your particular businesses. Understand your value. What is your value add? Are you expressing that value to other people? So they don't just see, okay, you got a business, but how does this affect me? How does it affect me in a positive way? Anything you're doing, you have to be able to convey your value. Tara and I, we have extreme value add in teaching families how to develop and build generational wealth. Tara hasn't worked in, almost 7 years now. I fired her boss. She didn't get fired. I fired her boss because I knew that Tara's skill set was more valuable here in our family businesses. So now she wakes up when she wants to. We travel and do the things we want to do when we want to do it for how long we want to do it. And it's simply because we put some things in place, we made some good decisions over a period of time. We drew out blueprints and we stuck to those blueprints. Our biggest secret, if I can say in one word, how do we do what we do? Consistency. We stay consistent. We're consistently consistent in the things that we do. Repeatedly. It's like making a cake. There's a recipe. You put eggs, butter, milk, mix it all up, put it in the oven. Ovens vary as far as temperature, but in a relatively same time frame, 18 to 22 minutes, we should all have a cake that tastes relatively the same if we follow the same recipe, if we did the same system. So that's the value add that Tara and I provide. We teach other families how to do what we do. We've created other millionaires. We've created other business owners who have indestructible wealth in place because of the things that we teach them through the Generational Wealth Academy. So, needless to say, if I can create 2 children who have 6-figure businesses independently, surely we can teach you how to do the same thing, if not greater. If We build $1 million companies. Surely we can teach you how to do the same thing. So um, we are currently taking on a few families. We're in the vetting process right now. Um, we're looking for go getters. We're looking for people who are action takers, who are very serious about creating generational wealth. We're looking for people who are easy to work with. We're not looking to bring on any projects because we don't do drama. We don't do unnecessary stress. We're looking for people who really want to run, who really want to grow, who's teachable and coachable. We're not psychiatrists, we're not psychologists. We're not here to solve emotional, personal problems. But if in fact, if you are looking to change your finances or financial problems, we can definitely help you there. Now, here's the secret there. Once you change your financial situation for the better, you will be amazed to see how many of those other problems seem to disappear. Money can fix a lot of things. Money can give you breathing room. Once you have breathing room, you can start making good decisions and better choices. All right, guys, I'm Dr. Sean J. Harris. Got to get out of here. We got some things getting ready. Kaden has a event for the bus today at the Boys Club. So we may do a little live video footage there. But again, if you do know an organization or you're looking to book a private party, feel free. Check out Caden's website. It's cadenteachesbus.com. You can book him there. For those of you who are interested in family coaching or individual coaching with Tara and I for developing indestructible wealth, please reach out to our administrative director. Her name is Chelsea Davis. She can be reached at inquiry Sean J. Harris Speaks at gmail.com. Again, that's inquiry Sean J. Harris at gmail.com. All right, guys, Dr. Sean J. Harris, make impact. Make your life count. Make every day count. Time is running out. Let's go.